During the time of the Enlightenment, that is, from the late 17th century to the late 18th century, the notion of citizen replaced the notion of subject. A new theory gained ground. The rulers no longer derived their legitimacy from divine will, dynastic rights, or the sheer power of force. Rather, their legitimacy stemmed from the will of the people. The people was deemed to be the sovereign, and the ruling authorities their delegates or representatives. Although this notion was not new, it was given solid philosophical grounding during the Enlightenment. The notion of citizen is the foundation of the republican and democratic systems of government. Yet, for a long time, these systems were not the rule in practice. Functioning democracies are not the rule even now, but the idea of democracy enjoys legitimacy as a model to which political system should aspire. It has taken 2 centuries for citizens to begin to exert more visibly the role of sovereigns. From the right to vote for a few to the universal right to vote, a long time passed. Since the 1960s, organized citizens have begun to take an active role in certain causes of common concern, starting with human rights. Afterwards, in the 1970s, there started a growing preoccupation for the protection of the environment. During the 1990s, the hottest new issues were transitional justice and anti-corruption. Since 2011, citizen protests against government abuse and gross inequalities began to erupt all over the world until the present day. A world order is a set of principles and institutions that shape and regulate international relations during a certain period of human history. Before World War I, the world order comprised secular states as well as major political units called empires. After World War II, the New World Order left definitively behind the notion of empires and replaced it with that of superpowers, living among smaller political units or states. Of course, there is no way to forecast the future. At present, we may say that since the years 1989 to 1991, which marked the end of the Cold War, we live in a time of transition. The world order established after World War II subsists at present, but devoid of vitality. In the aftermath of World War II, the utter destruction of that conflict made possible the erection of a wholly new world order. That is not the case today, thankfully, because nobody wishes a repetition of a huge tragedy like World War II. First, there is a political-institutional element. This component has a universal dimension represented by the United Nations, heir to the failed League of Nations. It also has a regional dimension comprising institutions such as the Council of Europe, the Organization of American States, the African Union, and the Arab League. Secondly, the world order presents a commercial and financial component represented by the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, and the World Trade Organization. In the third place, it has a military element expressed in the creation of military alliances during the Cold War, such as the Warsaw Pact and NATO, from which only the last one, NATO, is still in force. Fourth, some major political alignments were formed during the Cold War, dividing the West of the capitalist democracies from the East of the socialist countries, and still from a third party called the non-aligned group of countries. Arguably, the victorious party after 1991 turned out to be that of the capitalist democracies, a notion currently challenged by social protests all over the world. Finally, there is an important and novel humanitarian component in the world order, carved out after World War II, which we will examine next. Initially, after World War II, there was an intense momentum towards building a humanitarian order. In the immediate post-war years, one may count the Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948, the four 1949 Geneva Conventions, the Refugee Convention of 1951, and the Nuremberg and Tokyo trials. However, with the onset of the Cold War, this momentum came to a halt. It was reinitiated in the 1960s due to the emergence of a citizen-driven human rights movement. Thus, the post-war international humanitarian order had initially three basic components. A, human rights. B, a significant expansion of international humanitarian law, that is, the laws of armed conflict. And C, refugee law. In addition, there were steps towards international criminal justice, soon frozen and not reinitiated until the 1990s. These three initial components would continue to expand after the 1960s. To them, it was added the emergence of many anti-terrorist treaties, starting in the 1970s. Social institutions, such as democracy and citizenry, as well as social orders, including those with a global scope, must be regulated by norms. Since at present there are no religious or moral normative systems with a wide acceptance, the law is the normative system allegedly capable of successfully regulating international relations. Therefore, in international relations, the language through which the post-World War II world order expresses itself to be understandable and to gain legitimacy is that of the law, particularly international law. Thus, international law is the system that binds together and rules over all the aforementioned elements that form part of the world order. International law, however, is weaker than national legal systems. These can be enforced by means of the monopoly of force enjoyed by the state. In international law, there is no such monopoly of force. Please visit our website mucchile.com and you are cordially invited to watch the next class of this course.